Marrying a random escort, discovering his secret CEO life that trumps my Traitor EX, it all started when I stumbled into a night I'd never forget, a night that would change everything. The city was alive, its heartbeat pounding through the neon lights and the laughter of strangers. My heart raced as I approached him, the man who seemed to hold the secrets of the universe in his captivating smile. At first glance, he was just another handsome stranger, the kind you'd see on a poster. But oh, was I wrong? Little did I know, he wasn't just an escort. No, he was a part of something much bigger. The air was electric, charged with my curiosity. I could feel the tricky weight of doubt, a lump forming in my throat. What was this man hiding behind his playful charm? The whispers of my friend lingered in my mind, cautioning me about falling for someone so enigmatic. But as he leaned in, his voice a sultry whisper, I felt an intensity one couldn't resist. Something inside me screamed to explore the mystery wrapped in his polished exterior, and then there was the way he moved, a grace that suggested power, responsibility like no ordinary man. What catapulted him into the tangled web of a life as an escort? The questions buzzed loudly in my mind. My ex, the traitor who broke my heart, was just an ordinary guy compared to this man. Whoever he was, he had layers, more than I could see at first glance. I caught a sliver of a glint in his eye, and it hinted at secrets, dark, thrilling secrets. As we spoke, the world around us dulled. The only sounds were our breaths and the clinking of glasses. I felt the eyes of onlookers, a mix of intrigue and judgment. Who was this girl with the man of mystery? I could sense their whispers tinged with shock. I was right where I needed to be, yet the tension churned deep in my gut. Was I really ready to dive into the unknown? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Suddenly, without warning, he leaned closer, his lips almost brushing against mine. The moment felt charged electric. His next words sent chills down my spine. I'm not who you think I am. The world around us faded, it was just me and him. What could that possibly mean? The intensity of his gaze pierced through me. My heart raced faster than ever. I had to know. What secrets could he hold that would make my Traitor X seem like a fool? The air thickened with anticipation as I waited for his next revelation. What lay beneath the surface? My only thought was to uncover it, even if it led to something dangerous. His words hung in the air, tantalizing and heavy. Not who you think I am. My mind raced, grappling with the implications of his confession. What did he mean? Was he a criminal? A spy? My pulse quickened at the thought. What could possibly be lurking beneath the suave exterior of this captivating man? Then who are you? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. The noise of the bar faded, replaced by the thumping of my heart. My stomach twisted in anticipation that he seemed to consider me for a moment, those piercing eyes searching mine, as if weighing the risks of revealing his truth. I have a life away from this, out of the spotlight, he finally said, his voice dropping to a near whisper. I'm a CEO. A big one. A CEO. My mind reeled. The image of him in a pinstripe suit, commanding boardrooms, negotiating deals flashed in my head, shoving my former image of him as a mere escort aside. It felt surreal, almost impossible. So, you're telling me you spend your nights as an escort? Why would you do that? His expression darkened, and the playful glint vanished. Because life isn't black and white. Sometimes you have to do what needs to be done to protect what's important. The weight of his words slammed into me. Protect what? My own questions tumbled like loose change spilling from my pocket. What do you mean? Are you in trouble? He sighed and ran a hand through his hair, a gesture of frustration. My company is at the edge of a huge deal, and let's just say there are people who want to sabotage it. Using someone like me for their own gain. I have to stay undercover. Now I was caught up in a whirlwind of confusion and intrigue. He seemed larger than life, and just like that, the stakes elevated. Suddenly, I was not just intrigued, my heart raced, and I felt fear gnawing at my insides. Was I getting in over my head? Before I could speak, he leaned forward, urgency etched into his face. But you need to know my life isn't just glamorous board meetings and cocktail parties. It's dangerous. Being close to me can put you at risk. A cold chill traveled up my spine. The lights around us dimmed as if the universe was placing a spotlight on the danger that wrapped around our conversation. My ex felt like a distant memory, a petty treachery compared to the intensity of the man sitting across from me. I took a deep breath, absorbing his words. I don't care about the danger. I just want to know who you really are, not just this CEO persona. The real you. He stared at me long and hard, and I could see the flicker of something behind his eyes, a mix of fear and something softer, almost vulnerable. We can't keep meeting. It's not safe, he finally murmured, regret lacing his voice. Panic clawed at my chest. Wait. What? You can't just leave me hanging like this. You can't just drop all these bombshells and walk away. He shook his head, looking torn. This isn't just about us anymore. There are too many moving parts. I can't endanger you. Before I could protest or chase after him, he stood up abruptly. The air shifted, an uncomfortable void taking his place that cracked with tension. My heart sank as he stepped away, blending into the shadows of the bar that I felt hollow and exhilarated all at once, my mind cluttered with questions. What if he was right? What if I was plunging into a world I couldn't escape? But one thing was clear: what had begun as a random night out had morphed into a tangled web of secrets and mysteries that I wasn't ready to untangle. As I watched him disappear, one thought burned in my mind: I needed to know more. Why was I so unwilling to let him go? What was I risking to uncover the truth? And then, through the soft murmur of the crowd, I heard my name called from the far end of the bar. A voice I recognized: my ex. The familiar betrayal draped across his words made my heart race. But would confronting him lead to clarity or chaos? My breath hitched as I turned to face him. There he was, my ex, leaning against the bar with a smirk that screamed confidence, as if he had just walked out of a movie. His presence felt like a jarring reminder of my past, a haunting specter that could easily shatter this electrifying moment with the CEO. Fancy seeing you here, he drawled, his voice dripping with disdain. The patrons around him were oblivious, laughing and chatting, while my world narrowed to the two of us. The tension in the air thickened like fog, and I had to bite my tongue to hold back a retort. What do you want? I shot back, feeling defensive. I was aware of how vulnerable I felt just moments ago, and I wasn't about to let him take that away from me again. Oh, come on. No need to be so cold. I just wanted to see how you're doing. Heard you were back in town, he replied, feigning innocence, but I saw the predatory glint in his eye. It was a game for him. And look at you, mingling with the high-profile types. My pulse quickened, the weight of the CEO's words echoing in my mind. You have no idea what you're talking about, I said, clenching my fists. This was not the time for games. I'm busy. He stepped closer, invading my space. Busy with a CEO escort? Seems like you've upgraded. Can't say I'm surprised. You always had a thing for the dramatic. The bite of his words stung, and I fought to keep my composure. Just past him, the shadows swirled, and I imagined the CEO watching, waiting, possibly even concerned for my safety. Would he come back? Was he watching me now? You don't even know anything about him, I replied, my voice trembling with a mixture of anger and fear. You don't know what I want or what I'm doing. He smiled, leaning back on the bar as if relishing my discomfort. I know I was everything you wanted, and now you're just replacing me with some rich playboy. Those words cut deep, igniting an ember of doubt in my chest. Was it really just a rebound? But then I thought about the air in the bar, the thrill of meeting someone with secrets that felt like a dangerous dance. I needed to focus. Just then, my phone vibrated in my pocket. I fished it out and noticed a message from the CEO, "Are you okay?" My heart raced. I glanced up to find my ex still watching me, his expression shifting from amusement to confusion. "Who is that?" "Your new toy." "None of your business," I spat, unable to hide my flustered emotions. I typed back quickly, "I'm fine. Just seeing someone unexpected." I hoped my answer conveyed the urgency of the situation, though part of me wished I could tell him everything. Before I could process my thoughts, my ex leaned closer, practically whispering, "You should be more careful. The higher they are, the harder they fall. And believe me, he could have a dark past you know nothing about." Panic shot through me, the words twisting into my mind like a serpent. Was he trying to warn me? Or was this another manipulation, another attempt to drag me back into his world of deceit? I glanced at the door, the space the CEO had occupied now feeling achingly empty. Was he still out there? Would he return, step forward into the light, revealing everything, or had I just let go of the most thrilling chance of my life? I felt trapped, cornered by my past and terrified of what was to come. My ex chuckled softly, sensing my unease, while I stood at the precipice of two worlds, one drenched in uncertainty, the other a dark familiarity pressing in. "What's your next move?" he taunted, eyes glistening with mischief. And just like that, I realized the chaos wasn't over. I had just stepped into deeper waters. "Are you going to confront this new CEO of yours or walk away into the shadows of your old life?" His words lingered in the air, an invitation to a truth I desperately wanted to unravel. Who was the CEO really? And what darkness would I have to face to uncover the truth about him? With resolve, I squared my shoulders. I won back down. Not now. Just as I prepared to confront my ex, the door swung open, and a figure stepped in from the night. I barely breathed, my heart hammering. Was it him? The answer loomed before me, crackling with all kinds of possibilities. The figure that stepped inside stole every ounce of air from my lungs. It was him, the CEO. He entered with a commanding presence, his tailored suit hugging his frame perfectly, a stark contrast to the chaos that had erupted moments before. The low hum of the bar faded, the laughter of patrons dulled, and all I could focus on was him. His gaze locked onto mine, and within those deep, searching eyes, I felt a jolt of electricity. Just as abruptly, I felt exposed, like a window had been thrown open to let in the unsettling chill of my past. My ex smirked, clearly savoring the spectacle before him. "And here comes Prince Charming," he sneered, an edge of hostility creeping into his voice. The CEO approached with an ease that suggested he hadn't just walked into a bar, he had stepped into a battlefield. I could sense the energy shift as he closed the distance between us. The subtle movement of his shoulders, sharp and strong, indicated he was a man used to taking control of situations. "Are you all right?" he asked softly, his voice cutting through the tension like a knife. For a brief moment, his eyes left mine to scan the room, landing on my ex. My heart raced as I realized he could see the predatory vibe radiating off him, the shadows of my past lurking dangerously close. "Yeah, I'm fine," I managed to say, though my heart was a bonfire of anxiety. With my gaze back on my ex, I saw the way his expression twisted, amusement fading into something darker. "Seems like you two were having quite the reunion," the CEO mused, the smoothness in his tone masking any underlying suspicion. "It's nothing," I said quickly, eager to guard whatever fragile connection was blooming between us. The way he eyed my ex was aggressive, protective, and I couldn't help but feel a flutter of hope. "Nothing at all, right?" my ex interrupted, his mocking smile returning. "Just two people with nothing to hide meeting again after, what? A year?" The tension was palpable, as if a thick strand of unseen dread wove between the three of us. I opened my mouth to retaliate, to banish him from our moment, when the CEO placed a firm hand on my arm, a simple gesture, but it ignited every nerve ending in my being. "Let us go," he said, his voice low and commanding, drawing me away from my ex. It was an order, but there was also care layered beneath it that soothed my frayed nerves. "Are you really going to let him take you away?" My ex spat, hurt spilling through his anger as he stepped toward us, blocking our exit. Shadows danced in his eyes, an ominous warning flickering in the depths of his gaze. "Get out of my way." The CEO's voice was steel, thick with authority. I could feel the world around us shrinking, the noise of swirling overactive conversations blurring into the background. "Why?" "Afraid I'll tell her the truth." My ex's words dripped with malice, and the certainty of dread began to unfurl again in my gut. "The truth?" Whatever you want to call it, flustered. "What truth?" My voice cracked, and I could feel the CEO's grip tightening around my arm, firm but steady, a lifeline amidst the storm that my heart thudded in my chest. Was there something lurking just beneath the surface that I hadn't scratched yet? "Just a little history, that's all, sweetheart," my ex said with a smirk. He was committing to his role as the villain, lording over this moment like a coward who thrived on the vulnerability in others. The CEO's jaw clenched, and my chest tightened at the tension swirling around us. Questions piled up, but I was desperate to keep the focus on the present. "I don't care about your games." I pushed my chin up, adrenaline surging. "I'm done with you." A flicker of surprise crossed my ex's face, but it transformed into rage. "You'll regret this. You think you know him?" But the CEO shook his head, drawing closer, like a wall shielding me from my past's grasp. "Let us just go. I'll explain everything when we're somewhere safe." My ex laughed, a hollow sound that rang in my ears. "Safe? You really think you can protect her from the truth?" Before I could respond, the CEO pulled me toward the exit. His intent clear. Behind us, my ex shouted something. But all that mattered was the door before me and the possibility of leaving everything behind. As we stepped into the cool evening air, a sense of liberation washed over me. The lights of the bar faded behind us, but doubt flickered in my heart. What truth had my ex been hinting at? And would I really uncover what shadows trailed behind the man I was beginning to trust? I glanced sideways at the CEO, searching for answers in his intense gaze. The night was just beginning, but tension hung in the air. What lay ahead was uncertain, and the danger was very much alive. "Wait," I said, pulling back slightly, unwilling to let go of the final shred of clarity I had. "What is the truth?" He hesitated, and I took a breath, knowing full well that whatever came next could shatter everything. The silence between us was thick, the night suddenly feeling heavier as I awaited his response. I could see the gears ticking away in his mind, his jaw tightening as he wrestled with what to say. He started, the weight of his words hanging in the air. "There are things about me, things that might make you question why I came to your aid." My heart raced. This wasn't just a romantic rescue, this was a moment fraught with implications I wasn't entirely ready to face. I sensed a chasm of truth waiting to swallow us whole. "Just tell me." I could feel the urgency in my voice, desperation edging into my tone. "What do I need to know?" "Not here." His eyes flitted around us, scanning the street as if enemies might spring from the shadows. "Let us get in the car." He led me to a sleek black sedan parked across the street, its tinted windows giving nothing away. As I settled into the luxurious interior, I felt a rush of conflicting emotions. Part of me felt protected, the other, uncertain and unsteady. The engine roared to life, and the CEO maneuvered seamlessly through the streets, the city lights flickering past like specters. My mind whirled with possibilities. My ex's threats floated back into my awareness, taunting me. What did he mean? I asked, grasping for some clarity. What truth is he talking about? What history do you share? He cast his eyes briefly to me, those intense orbs shimmering with something I couldn't quite place. Was it guilt? Concern? Just please trust me. There's a lot I haven't told you, he said firmly but gently, his voice wrapping around me like a warm blanket. All of this is complicated. I promise I'll explain everything soon. Just give me a moment. Every word triggered an itch of anxiety beneath my skin. Trust was a fragile thing, easily broken, and my history made my instinct to question everything almost instinctual. A silence settled over us again as we reached the outskirts of the city, darkness thickening around us like a fog. Is this where we're going? I asked, glancing out at the looming trees lining the road. This doesn't look like the kind of place you take someone to talk. I swear, I'll keep you safe, he repeated, eyes locked on the winding path ahead. But something in his tone shifted, and I could hear the trepidation swirling beneath. The car slowed, and an unexpected chill ran through me. What do you mean? Out of nowhere, a distant sound tore through the night, a burst of tires screeching. I turned as a vehicle approached rapidly from behind. My stomach dropped as the newcomer swerved in front of us, cutting us off, metal clashing with dark intent. Heart hammering, I glanced at the CEO, confusion mixing with fear. What is happening? He gripped the wheel tightly, jaw clenched, muscles tensed. Stay down. He barked. Before I could react, he swerved the car abruptly, sending us careening into the side street as the other vehicle followed mercilessly. The thud of my heart echoed in my ears, panic rising like bile in my throat. Why are they after us? I screamed as he took another sharp turn, the world outside blurring into streaks of motion. I don't know, he replied sharply, breath hitching. But they can't catch us. Just hold on. Our escape was desperate, but I felt a rush of adrenaline mixing with sheer dread. What had I stepped into? What secrets were hidden beneath the surface of his world that could lead to this? I instinctively knew this was only the beginning, the unraveling of the fabric of our lives entwined in chaos. As uncertainty surged, I whispered, please tell me everything now. We might not have another chance. In that moment, through the fear and the violence closing in, we became ensnared in a web of lies that neither of us had anticipated, and I wasn't sure anyone would come out alive. What lurked behind his enigmatic facade? What truths would emerge under the threat bearing down on us? The answers, tinged with dread, felt closer than ever as the night got darker. The car jerked violently as he swerved again, tires skidding on the gravel. My heart raced as I pressed down harder on the seat, bracing myself against the impending chaos. Desperation enveloped the air between us, thick and charged. Do you see them? I gasped, craning my neck to catch a glimpse of our pursuers. No. Just don't look. Just keep your head down. He leaned forward, eyes darting between the road and the rearview mirror, a fierce concentration tightening his features. The world outside was melting into a blur, shadows darting past like specters. I could hear the echo of the other car's aggressive revving, an ominous throaty growl promising disaster. What do they want from us? I shouted, panic gripping me like a vice. Would we survive this? Every instinct screamed to fight or flee, but with him driving and the night swallowing us whole, I was trapped in uncertainty. Just trust me, he said again, but this time, I sensed his resolve wavering, his voice shaky. It wasn't comforting, it was terrifying. That as we reached a fork in the road, he made a sharp turn toward a narrow, unkempt path surrounded by towering trees. Where are we going? I pressed, my throat dry. To lose them. But instead of losing them, I felt an unshakable sense of impending doom. Every corner we took felt like a gamble, each stretch of road leading deeper into darkness. Suddenly, a loud bang jolted the car. I flinched, looking back to see the other vehicle gaining on us, a massive SUV with glinting headlights cutting through the night like a predator zeroing in on its prey. The sound had been gunfire. My breath hitched in my throat. Were they shooting at us? I gasped, adrenaline spiking. He didn't answer. Instead, he pressed harder on the accelerator, the engine roaring in defiance. But the SUV was unyielding, closing in with unsettling speed. "We need to do something," I cried, my mind racing. "We can't keep running blindly. There's a place," he said fiercely, eyes alight with determination. "An old cabin up ahead. We can hide there." We rounded a corner, and I caught a glimpse of a dilapidated structure just beyond the trees, a flickering light glowing like a beacon of hope. "That? Are you sure? Trust me." He gritted his teeth, veins bulging at his temples as he pushed the car to its limits. The second shot rang out, this time shattering the rear window. Glass rained down like danger, and I screamed, covering my head as shards clattered around me. My chest tightened. This was no longer a game. "Hang on," he yelled, forcing the car to skid around another bend. The cabin loomed closer now, and in that moment, a wild idea struck me. What if we don't just hide? What if we fight back? The thought felt insane, almost radical, but the encroaching danger stirred a flicker of rebellion in my gut. His sharp glance met mine, a mix of surprise and apprehension spreading across his features. "What do you mean? That's crazy." But something in my voice must have sparked a flicker of intrigue. "If they want us, let us give them a reason to think twice." "Are you serious?" "Deadly." As we barreled toward the cabin, my heart thudded heavily with the weight of my choice. I could feel the adrenaline flooding my body, igniting a fire. Our time was running out, and soon we would either face them head-on or cower in the shadows. What he didn't know was I wouldn't go down without a fight, especially when the truth behind all these lies loomed so dangerously close. The SUV screeched to a halt behind us as we skidded into the clearing. We could hear the heavy footsteps approaching. But what awaited us inside the cabin? What secrets would both the cabin and the night reveal? The shiver of uncertainty ran down my spine as we slammed the car door, its echo reverberating through the stillness of the night. We were exposed, caught between the looming cabin and the predator behind us. My heart thudded like a war drum, each beat a reminder of the danger we faced. "Quick!" he urged, grabbing my arm and pulling me towards the entrance. I glanced back, the headlights of the SUV piercing the dark like searchlights, illuminating the surrounding trees menacingly. "Are you sure they won't find us here?" I whispered, my voice trembling with a mixture of fear and adrenaline. "They have to think we didn't stop. They'll keep driving." He glanced around, anxiety etched on his face. "We need to move fast." The cabin looked old, the paint peeling like in a ghost story. The door creaked loudly as we pushed it open, a chilling welcome. Inside, a musty smell hit me, mingled with an underlying hint of pine. It felt alive, almost conscious, like it was watching us back. That he wasted no time, sliding in and shutting the door behind us, plunging us into a dim, orange glow from a single flickering bulb. The shadows danced on the walls, mocking our situation. "We need to barricade ourselves," he said urgently, moving towards a rickety table. "Help me with this." I joined him, my trembling hands shoving the table against the door. There was a pit in my stomach, the realness of our confrontation settling heavily over me. We exchanged desperate glances, both of us aware that our lives hinged on what would happen next. As we locked the table into place, I noticed a rusty axe hanging on the wall. My heart leaped. If we're fighting, we need something more than sheer will. He followed my gaze, and for a moment, I saw fear mix with determination on his face. "Good idea," he said, moving towards it. In that moment, he was a different man, more purposeful, more primal. He grabbed the axe, and I could feel the weight of hope shift in the air. Maybe we could harness the element of surprise. Maybe I was right. "If they think they can intimidate us, they have another thing coming," I said, trying to boost my own courage. Just then, we heard a loud crash outside the cabin, followed by a deep voice cursing. Panic surged in me like electricity. "They're here!" I hissed, adrenaline coursing through my veins. "Get down!" he shouted as he dropped into a crouch, shifting the axe into a defensive position. I followed him, my heart racing faster. Footsteps thudded against the ground, and our breaths synchronized, quiet and heavy. There was a moment of silence, a fragile pause as if the world held its breath for what was coming next. Would they find us here? A silhouette loomed outside the cabin's window, the glint of the flashlight catching on something metallic. I felt my stomach drop. I wanted to scream, to warn him, but I was frozen, my throat tight with fear. Do you see them? He mouthed, his eyes filled with frantic urgency. I shook my head, the silence was deafening. But then, through the crack of the door, I caught a glimpse of another figure, this one distinctly smaller, creeping with purpose. Not just anyone, I whispered, my pulse racing as realization struck me. They're looking for us. The door rattled violently as they kicked it, showcasing their ruthless intent. I braced myself, the axe heavy in my grip. This was at the moment that could change everything. The line was drawn, and at that moment, I felt armed with more than just a weapon, I felt a deep resolve to uncover the secrets that had been haunting us. But the moment fell hollow as the door splintered, and the shadowy figures burst through, eyes wide and hungry for confrontation. Would our rebellion stand strong? Would the cabin reveal more than just dark secrets? In that moment, everything hung in the balance. The door erupted open, flinging splinters in all directions like confetti at a macabre celebration. Two figures stumbled in, silhouettes against the moonlight, a man and a girl, both wide-eyed and feral with determination. My heart plummeted as I registered the menacing glint of their weapons. Hands where we can see them. The man barked, his voice a low growl, dripping with power. I could barely breathe. The axe felt futile in my hands, a mere twig against the impending storm that he stepped in front of me, a barrier forged from instinct and desperation. You don't want this. You don't know what you're getting into, he replied, his voice surprisingly steady, considering the chaos swirling around us. Oh, we know plenty, the girl sneered, flicking her flashlight to illuminate our faces. You think this is a game? She adjusted her grip on the bat resting against her shoulder, and I caught a glimpse of something wired in her eyes, rage mixed with something darker. The man shoved forward, propelling the table against the door as more figures began clawing at the shards. It's not a game. It's survival, he shot back, adrenaline pulsing through him. The room felt violently alive, shadows flickered with every breath, the air heavy with the stench of fear. A scream pierced the night outside, raw and unhinged. It sliced through my thoughts, sparking a deep-rooted terror. They're close, I gasped, thoughts spiraling into dread. We need to shut it. You have no idea how deep this goes. The man interrupted, his voice seething with impatience. The way he eyed the axe now felt like he was weighing our options, fight or flight. That I dared to glance out the window. Beyond the trees, the park lights flickered, revealing even more figures milling about, searching. Panic settled as I recognized a face in the crowd, a glimpse of betrayal I'd never shake off. Your ex. I blurted out, my heart in my throat. He is here. I saw his facial muscles twitch, an array of emotions flashing through his eyes, pain battling with resolve. What? He gripped my arms tightly, anger swirling in his voice. Why would he come here? Because he wants you, both of us dead, I choked out, grappling with realization after realization. Every choice leading up to this moment unfolded like a terrifying newsreel in my mind. Suddenly, the door rattled again, this time with an urgency that felt alive, driven by a primal need to possess us. I felt the shadows closing in around us, the air thick and suffocating. The girl took a step closer, eyes alight with sadistic excitement. Together or apart? She laughed, a twisted sound that sent chills through me. It doesn't make a difference. You're both going to be somewhere you can't escape from eventually. No. I screamed, defiance roaring to life in my chest. We'll fight. He looked at me, a spark igniting in his eyes, but before he could respond, a loud bang echoed through the night as the door finally yielded. The darkness beyond poured in, and I could sense movement, the surge of bodies under the cover of night, hand in hand, we braced ourselves. Whatever was coming, it would not take us easily. But just as the first figure stepped inside, a flash of light burst from the woods, drenching everything in its fiery glow. Gunshots rang out. "Get down!" he shouted, dragging me to the floor just as chaos erupted. As the dust settled, the echo of shots resonated like a ticking clock, reminding us there were more secrets layered within the woods. Somewhere deep in that chaos was a truth I wasn't prepared for, something that could shift everything: their intention, our survival, our very existence hanging in the balance. What dreadful truth awaited us beyond the chaos? In the frenzy of the moment, would we even survive to find out? The light from the woods flickered and pulsed, bathing the room in an eerie glow. For a moment, I squinted against the brightness, disoriented by the gunfire and chaos surrounding me. The figures standing in the doorway froze, momentarily blinded, while the screams from the outside intensified. I could feel the tremors of fear coursing through my veins. "Now's our chance," he shouted, pulling me up and toward the shadows at the back of the room. I nodded, though my mind scrambled. What were we running toward? Every instinct screamed at me to move, to escape whatever lurked beyond the safety of the walls. The man fired back, his voice urgent. "Don't just stand there. Move!" With adrenaline slamming into my chest, I bolted alongside him, ducking low to avoid the scattered light. We raced through the cluttered space, stepping over twisted chair legs and broken glass. Each footfall echoed like a death knell, hammering home the fact that we were being hunted. Behind us, the girl yelled, her voice crackling with fury. "You're not getting away that easily." My heart raced at her words, her vendetta fueled by something more profound than just anger. Each thud from the doorway sent icy streaks of panic through my spine. As we reached the back of the cramped room, I glanced over my shoulder. The figures were still silhouetted in the threshold, but they were regrouping. This wouldn't hold them for long. My thoughts ricocheted like bullets. I needed an escape route. "Through the window," he directed, spotting an old, dirty pane of glass. Without waiting, he flipped the latch and shoved it open. He turned to me, urgency etched on his face. "You first." The moment I climbed onto the sill, a blast of cool air rushed against my skin, grounding me for a heartbeat. I could barely hear the chaos behind me, yells blending into a cacophony of confusion outdoors. The park beyond was alive with shadows and flashes of light, an entire world where darkness battled against the scattered remnants of hope. "Go!" he pushed, his hands firm against my back as I tumbled through the window and landed hard on the grass below. I winced, biting back a cry as pain shot through my ankle. Before I could take stock of my surroundings, he jumped through the window after me, landing on either side of me as if the ground itself shook beneath our weight. "We can't stay here," he hissed, scanning the trees that lined the edge of the park. They were thick and tangled, hiding a world within a world that might hold our salvation or our doom. I pointed toward the shelter of the trees, my breath shallow and rapid. "Over there." He nodded, eyes fierce, fueled by the flickering lights in the distance. We sprinted toward the darkness, branches clawing at us like sinister spirits wanting to keep us hidden forever. The sounds of movement pursued us, the grating voice of the girl shouting commands, the pounding feet of others closing in. They were gaining weight. I gasped, trying to catch my breath as we reached the edge of the woods. "What now?" He looked back, fury mixing with determination. "We split up. It's not safe here." My stomach twisted. "You're crazy. We can't trust me." "Find a way to regroup," he commanded, eyes fiery with conviction. "I promise I'll find you. Just go." With that, he melded into the shadows, disappearing as swiftly as the darkness enveloped him. My heart sank. I could feel the weight of the world pinning me down, yet instinct drove me forward. I took a deep breath, every nerve ending lighting up like fireworks as I dashed further into the woods. Behind me, the sounds rumbled louder. Crack. A branch snapped, followed by more footsteps. I glanced back, fear curling in my gut like a snake ready to strike. There was no time to lose. I had to keep moving, but the deeper I ran, the more I realized I was sure I knew how to survive, even if I found a way to escape. In the sinister embrace of the trees, shadows danced, and every rustle of leaves filled my heart with dread. Would I truly escape this night alive, or was it just the beginning of something far worse? The looming question chased me like a specter. Who would I come back to, if anyone? And would I still be the same person when I did? The darkness surrounded her like a thick cloak, the trees whispering secrets she couldn't decipher. Every step felt like a leap into the unknown, each breath heavy with fear and uncertainty. But survival was all that mattered now. She pushed on, adrenaline fueling her escape, her senses heightened. Then, a sudden crack of a twig snapped her back into reality. The sounds of pursuit echoed behind her. Had they spotted her? She ducked low, her heart pounding as she pressed herself against the bark of a towering oak. The voices grew louder, more desperate. We have to split up. She can't have gone far. Panic surged through her veins. They were right on her heels, every instinct screamed at her to run, but she needed a plan. She glanced around wildly and saw a dense thicket further ahead. A spot to hide, to catch her breath. Gathering her courage, she bolted toward it, branches whipping in her face. The thicket embraced her, and she crouched low, barely daring to breathe. Time stretched painfully. She could hear the footsteps blundering through the underbrush, each thud causing her heart rate to spike. They were near, but a sense of defiance sparked within her. She would not let them take her. Not after all she had endured. Moments felt like hours, and just when she thought they might have passed, a familiar figure crashed through the brush. Her ex. The sight of him sent icy dread crashing down her spine. "What are you doing here?" she hissed, her voice barely above a whisper. "Looking for you, obviously," he said, frustration mingling with a sinister glee. "You really think you can just run off with him? You're in way over your head, sweetheart. You don't know who you're dealing with." Her heart sank. "This isn't about you anymore. I'm not your possession to reclaim. That part of my life is over." "Is it?" He stepped closer, menacing. "You think that guy can protect you? Trust me, he is not what you think he is." "Shut up." She spit, fire igniting in her chest. Memories of betrayal threatened to unhinge her, but she couldn't give him the satisfaction. "I don't owe you anything." Before he could respond, another sound sliced through the tense moment, the cracking of twigs, rushing footsteps. They were here, and they were angry. An echo of gunfire rang in the distance, a chilling reminder of how close danger truly was. "Run! Now!" she shouted, her instincts kicking into overdrive. But when she turned to race deeper into the woods, her ex caught her arm, yanking her back. "This way, it's safer." He dragged her toward a narrow gap between two trees, and for a fleeting moment, she hesitated. "Stay out of my way." She pushed him off with a furious shove, adrenaline coursing through her as she sprinted away from him, breaking through branches, leaving him gasping for the confusion of it all. She focused on the way forward, her heart thrumming in her chest. She wouldn't be trapped by her past again. As she ducked into another patch of trees, something cold brushed against her ankle. It was the chilled night air finally creeping in through the layers of panic. "Damn it! Where is she?" She heard her ex shout, frustration boiling over. The sounds of pursuit grew closer, crunching leaves like footsteps marching to a violent end. She needed to find a way back to the CEO, to safety, and quickly. Suddenly, the ground shifted under her as she stumbled into a small hollow. Laying low, she tried to catch her breath, clinging to the hope that she'd outsmart them. Whispers edged through the leaves, figures darting past her on a trail, their voices sharp with intent. Then, in the dim light, she spotted a familiar figure darting through the trees. Her CEO. The sight of him ignited warmth in her chest. He was alive. Hope surged, but it was cut short as she saw another shadow, the girl crashing through the brush, rage glowing in her eyes. "Found her!" she screamed, rushing forward, weapon raised. It was too late to turn back. Steel surged through her veins. She sprang out, adrenaline pushing her body past exhaustion, aiming to intercept the girl with sheer force. "Get away from her!" the CEO yelled, charging in her direction, a fierce protector ready to shield her at any cost. The collision was explosive, a frenzy of moved bodies and weapons. The girl swung, missing, and the CEO grabbed her arm, twisting it behind her back, but the girl spun, slashing through the air with ferocity. "Face me!" she howled, filled with venomous intent. Their fight erupted into chaos, and all around them, the world faded as darkness closed in like a collapsing wave. But in the panic, she couldn't just stand back. Driven by a surge of bravery, she grabbed the axe they had left behind, charging toward them like a wild animal. "Stop!" she screamed, her voice raw, eyes wild. The movement caught them off guard, the CEO's focus faltered, allowing the girl to escape his grip, her surprise evident as she turned to face this new threat. "You really want to fight?" the girl taunted, bathed in malice. But the moment of hesitation gave her the edge she needed. She positioned herself defensively, the weight of the axe grounding her. "What is happening?" the CEO's voice thundered, drawing their attention back. "This fight is not what it seems. Isn't it?" the girl sneered, ready to charge. But fueled by adrenaline and the desire for freedom, she swung with all her strength, taking advantage of the opening. The axe struck hard, knocking the weapon from the girl's grasp. In that fleeting moment, the girl stumbled back, shock etching her face. "Now!" she shouted, adrenaline pumping. "Let us get out of here." The CEO seized her arm, fear and courage melding into one as they took off together, hearts pounding, fleeing from the shadows that threatened to envelop them once again. The path through the trees opened, revealing faint lights ahead. "Where are we going?" she asked, breathless. "We need to find safety." The CEO led her onward, determination shining like a beacon in the storm. "There's a place I know. Just trust me." And as they ran, the trepidation of what was behind melted away amid the certainty of their new alliance. They were warriors in a chaotic story, fueled by a desire for truth against the odds. In the distance, sirens wailed, a sound of pursuit drawing closer. But for the first time, she felt a glimmer of hope, a rush of adrenaline tinged with defiance. They would not be silenced. Together, they could unlock the truth and find their way through the darkness, stepping into the light that flickered just across the ridge. As she caught his eye, pieces of a greater shared journey began to form in her mind. They would unravel the deadly secrets that intertwined their lives. And she knew, no matter the cost, she was ready to dive headfirst into the unknown together. Now is your chance to step into this adventure. You need to subscribe now. Don't wait, because this is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to help feed the algorithm. I want to hear from you in the comments. Flood the section with your reactions and theories about this wild conclusion. And remember, share this story instantly with at least 5 friends who need this jaw-dropping ending in their lives. Don't let them miss out on the thrill. Only true fans understand the value of supporting the channel through these actions.